Good evening and welcome to the Q80 Classic. We've got an epic match here between the Italian Stallion and Loza the Donkey. I've got Ryan McGregor next to me, also known as the G-Train Gowser. What are we expecting here today?
Very high quality game, maybe not up to the standard of us two, but a standard that we'll be pretty proud of the Socceroos and we will challenge anyone in the world. A bit angry there, 1-0.
It's a lovely rally here, good pick up.
Apologise for hitting net. Apologise for hitting net.
Say sorry. Oh, there's a bit of hostility out here.
Shot. Whoa. Great shot.
That is brilliant from you.
Needed that.
There it is.
Big shot. Huge shot. Big shot. Huge shot. It's a hell of a game here.
The Stallion's rattled. The Stallion's rattled. Loza, go big or go home. That's the mentality.
Match point for the Stallion.
Oh, he's whipped it. Oh, he's in the game.
Oh, what a point that was.
And the Italian Stallion wins it in the
Takes
end.
it out.
That was a tight tussle.
Great game.
Welcome to the Socceroos Insider. Great to see some behind-the-scenes action from camp. My name's Michael Zappone. Thanks for joining us, and we welcome back Scott Jamieson.
Thank you for the call-up, Zappers. Much appreciated.
You did a great job last time, so we have him back to look ahead at our final game in this tournament, this mini-tournament, if you like, against Jordan. Probably the toughest test to come. Scott will focus on that a little bit in a moment, but the last game against Nepal, probably not the most impressive display from the Socceroos, but it were tough conditions and they got the job done.
A very professional performance, I thought, Zappers. We've been made aware of teams sitting back and making it hard for us. But we've seen with the width and especially in this game, the overlapping fullbacks and how crucial they were, we were able to cut open their defence and score some good goals.
We saw Aziz Bayic set up this goal here, a position you know pretty well, playing on the left-hand side and whipping in that ball for Matt Leckie. It was a terrific header as well. Frank Karacic, here he is here. He was fantastic. We'll touch on him in a moment, but this ball he plays for Leckie sets up this next goal.
Yeah, I think fortunate with the Sunday League defending, but you touched on there, Frank Karacic, probably the bolter from this tournament that's made his name and staked a claim in the starting 11 and an impressive performance capped with a goal.
When he makes this run, he delivers the ball to Leckie, but he continues the run. Talk to us about that.
That's a play full of confidence, Zappers. I think if you looked at the start of the tournament, he was solid, but with this, you can definitely see confidence is flowing, and I think he actually sniffed out a goal early on there. That's why he continued the run. He
started this move, the header for Jackson Irvine, and then the ball from Jackson Irvine again. Martin Boyle had a few chances just before this one and was very happy to find the back of the net in the end.
I think you can see the common theme here is both fullbacks being involved in the goals. And like I touched on, when teams are dropping deep, the width, you have to make it very big. And the overlapping fullbacks, along with the wingers, do that. So a very impressive performance from the wide players. Also, Leckie, another goal, another good headed goal. So a lot to be positive about.
Let's take a closer look at Fran Karacic. We didn't know a lot about him coming into this series of games, but he's playing his football in the Serie B in Italy with Brescia, a team that has played in the Serie A before, and he's winning a lot of admirers, picking up that right position as a fullback. Now, when we look at previously the Socceroos in the Asian Cup especially, Ryan Grant had his name all over that right back position, but there's hot competition for that now.
And it's certainly what you want to see, especially in the national team, players making a real play at trying to lock down positions. And I think this tournament here, we've seen assists, goals come from Fran and definitely put pressure on Ryan Grant, who's been probably one of the consistent performers of the Socceroos of late. So it's only going to benefit our national team. And along with this tournament, hopefully he can go back to Brescia, get a good pre-season and kick on.
We see him making another overlapping run here. He's obviously got the engines because we've got to remember the conditions that we're playing in. The pitch isn't great. 38 degrees at kick-off this game, but playing well a lot of minutes under his belt.
Oh, I think the most impressive thing for me is you said engines, but he's such a big boy and can get up and down, and that in itself is a feat. Myself not being the biggest, I know it's easier for us smaller players to get round, but definitely an imposing figure for these opposition Asian teams. And like I said, hopefully goes back to Brescia, gets a good pre-season and really kicks on, because if we can get a strong depth in our national team, it's only going to benefit us.
Quite a shy lad, we're told, but he's become pretty close with Milos Degenek, and they share a lot in common. Really important when you're in camp to have that connection and build those connections and friendships.
I think once you start getting into the camps, getting to know boys and become close with the boys, you do feel more comfortable. You do feel a part of it. So I think it's important, definitely, for him to continue this kind of trend and upwards trend at it's going.
Yeah, and we'll talk about your starting 11 later in the program, but a player that you'd expect to be in Graham Arnold's strongest 11 at this point in time?
I'd definitely say so. I think if you look at this tournament, the names to come out have made a claim. One would be Fran, along with Aiden Hrustic, Jackson Irvine. So I definitely feel that this tournament has really benefited him, and the longevity hopefully he can have in a Socceroos jersey.
All right, Scott Jamieson's starting 11 prediction coming up a little bit later in our Socceroos Insider. Before we speak to Connor Metcalfe, a reminder that the Pararoos have got a huge year ahead of them, and we're going to try and help them raise $40,000 for their charity. They've got the National Championships, and this big event that's happening coming up will help them raise up to $40,000. It's the Undefeated Giving Day. Jump on the Socceroos and the Football Australia website for more information. Coming up now, Connor Metcalfe.
I think we were like 15, maybe 14. And yeah, as you can see, there's a bit of height difference back then. Yeah.
Another 2 debutants for Australia tonight after 3 the other night.
I looked about, 8 years old as a 15-year-old.
And I haven't grown since.
You haven't grown since.
I was about this height when I was 14.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
Yeah, it's pretty weird because we've played together for so long, but how long's it actually been since we actually played together?
On the same field.
On the same field.
Yeah, we were both in Melbourne City.
Yeah.
We both started that game.
Yeah.
We played Ollie Roos together as well.
Yeah. During our youth team and stuff like that, we played together all the time, and then there was a period where we didn't play together for 3 years,
yeah.
I reckon, yeah. And then, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, to be on the same field wearing the Socceroos jersey.
Yeah.
Cap number 611 for the Socceroos. Connor Metcalfe joins us. A bit going on behind you. Signing some jerseys in a minute.
Yeah, everyone's signing lots of jerseys for charity.
Good stuff, Medi. Medi, I wanted to ask you, roughly how many times have you spoke to the missus since you've been away?
Yeah, probably every day. Got to keep her happy.
You can be honest with us, mate. If it's 5 to 10 times an hour, don't worry. We won't give you some bands, that's for sure.
Nah, because of the time difference, she's got to go to bed and things like that. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Connor, tell us a little bit about your experience and how you've enjoyed it. A huge moment, of course, for you in the last game, starting for the Socceroos.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Coming into my first ever camp, everyone's been very welcoming. Being able to train with such pro and top players, it's been a dream of mine since I was a little boy. And making my debut and also starting, it's been amazing.
And no doubt you've been keeping an eye on the A-League action over here. Scott's flying the flag for Melbourne City. You'll be watching the next game, no doubt.
Yeah, guaranteed. The boys will get the win.
I wanted to ask, you're inside camp now. Have you realised things you need to work on that you maybe didn't think prior to coming into camp?
I think I need to get in the gym a little bit more. Just looking at the size of everyone else compared to myself.
Jesus. He's the strongest at Melbourne City. I don't understand why he needs to go into the gym.
Also, my finishing, I realise the higher you get, the better, the keepers are and things like that. So, they're sort of the things I need to work on.
Just looking at Connor Metcalfe just down the barrel here. I see him out on the ground, but he's got a bit of the Hemsworths about him. Look at this very handsome young man.
Very handsome young man. Apart from that terrible haircut, Zappers, I think we're looking at someone who could probably be the face of a big Australian brand, if possible. So, looking at a very handsome young man.
That's a bit of a rap.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll let you go. We thank you so much for joining us, and well done on making your Socceroos debut.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Great to hear from Connor Metcalfe, your teammate. He's slotting in beautifully, the young man.
Doing really well. It's good to see him finding his feet in the national team, but hopefully doesn't forget us boys at Melbourne City.
Oh, I'm sure he won't. Let's take a look now, Scott, at our next fixture. It is against Jordan. It will be the toughest fixture of this mini tournament, if you like. Last time the Socceroos played Jordan, it was 1-0 in Jordan. Intimidating atmosphere. The first time the Socceroos had won in Jordan. It was a terrific performance, but they were really under pressure in that second half.
Certainly a snatch and grab. We've obviously seen a lot of chances that they created, especially in the second half, Zappers. So for the Socceroos to beat them this time around, it's going to be a lot harder, but a lot more clinical will have to be and create a lot of chances.
Yeah, terrific through ball from Jackson Irvine for that goal. Adam Taggart, he's been injured in this camp. He may get some game time, I'm told, in the second half as a substitute. But we just saw his clinical finishing and what he's capable of as well.
Yeah, the only player that hasn't seen any minutes. So I think if health permitting, you will see him on the pitch. But I guess it's someone that can finish goals. We've seen in the A-League, but also overseas, now in Japan, that an opportunity comes, he can take it.
Interesting too, when we look at what's at stake for Jordan, they must get a point from this game, at least, to qualify for the next stage of World Cup qualification. When you're a team that you've got so much at stake versus the Socceroos who know they're through, just talk us through that mindset.
Well, I think for the Socceroos boys, it is a dead rubber in the sense of already qualified. But I think having a lot of players being taken out of the A-League finals, Arnie's going to try and play the strongest team and remind people of, it's an important game. And on the flip side of that, you do have Jordan there who do need the point. They'll take confidence with the way they performed last game, but against a big nation like ourselves, Australia, it'll be tough for them, but there's lots to play for them.
All right, you touch on Graham Arnold and who he may start. Let's have a look at Scott's predicted starting 11. You reckon it's going to be the strongest possible?
I do. It could be an insight into me managing the national team in about 30 years, maybe. You never know. But I do. He's come out and said it in the media that he definitely sees fit that he's got to play his strongest team, and rightly so. They're probably the hardest team in the group, and for us to show them respect, we'll put out our strongest team. So
Matt Ryan in goal. Fran Karacic has been outstanding so far. You think he starts at right back?
I do. I think throughout this tournament, him along with Jackson Irvine's probably been the standout performer. A big body, has done really well with Brescia in Serie B, and has really made his name in this tournament, put pressure on Ryan Grant. So I'm going to have him at right back alongside Trent Sainsbury, my teammate Curtis Good and Aziz Bajic. I think that'll be the back four. You've seen Milos Degenek play a few games. Curtis has only played one at left back, so that's why I'm going to go put Curtis there. Aziz has been fantastic again. So that's the back four. I'm also going to put in the two holding midfielders with the box-to-box Jackson Irvine. Has played a lot of games. We've seen has been a key contributor, like I touched on before, and James Holland with that balance. I think against a Jordan team that will be able to attack us, he'll be a good pivot next to Jackson. And then the key number 10, another name that's been spoken a lot throughout the media here in Australia and has been a key performer and a breakout tournament for him is Aiden Hrustic. Hopefully with some set piece specials on from him, allowing the three up front to thrive in Martin Boyle, Jamie McLaren, my teammate, and Matthew Leckie on the right, my future teammate.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff for you at Melbourne City, but it's a strong lineup. Matthew Leckie playing, we've seen him playing as a number 9 in the early part of the tournament, but with Jamie McLaren there, he's equally adaptable out wide.
Well, I think the reason I've chose Jamie, one being if he didn't play, then I'd be pretty disappointed that he didn't come back for our final series. No, the reason I put Jamie in is definitely because give him one chance, he'll take it. And it might be that kind of game. With Lex, the pace, the power on the right with some good delivery, but also getting in behind Leckie and Boyle with pace, it gives us an opportunity to get behind their defence. So that's the reason I went for those three.
Fantastic insight from Scott Jamieson. We look forward to that starting 11. It's going to be a big game against Jordan, so much at stake for Australia's opponents. Joining us right after this, Renee Muellenstein.
Because you kind of came later on to the scene in terms of a national team, it's one that you possibly appreciate even that little bit more. But hey, take it from me, you've got at least another 10 years to go. So congratulations, absolutely fantastic. You've become Socceroos Cup number 613, the best way to welcome you to the Socceroos family.
Shorty, thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
Renee Muellenstein joins us now, the Socceroos assistant coach. We miss you, Rene, in Australia. It's been a while, but fantastic campaign so far. How are you enjoying it?
Very much so, Zappers, and thanks for having me on the show. Hi, Scott.
How you going?
It's been very successful. If you look at it, 3 games, 3 wins, 11 goals scored. 1 conceded. I think the players have been exceptional in all the games. The game plan that we set out to play in every different opponent we played has been executed very, very well in different conditions, challenging conditions, because as you know by now, the pitch is not in the best conditions, but the players have been brilliant so far, and we managed everything that you need to manage throughout the camp very, very well.
Rene, with such a big squad, you probably have a lot of players you haven't worked with. Have any stood out to you throughout the past camp?
Well, we brought in more players than we normally would, because we knew that we had those 4 qualifying games in those challenging conditions, and we knew that there's a short turnover in between the games. We need to have a close look how the players back up after playing a game. That's why we wanted a broad base, and it's a great mix. It's a great mix of players that have been with us for since we took over, and a lot of new players, a lot of debutants, some young players that obviously Arnie and I knew from the Socceroos, which we thought, listen, this is the time for them to bring them into the Socceroos, because they're ready to make that step up. Young players bring new energy to the camp, new energy to the training, and that has worked tremendously well.
Rene, for those who don't know, obviously you've got a great long history in the game, but you've been based in Europe over the last few years with the Socceroos. Talk to us about your role and the importance of perhaps having someone based over there, keeping an eye closely on players like Frank Karacic, to use an example of him, and Aiden Hrustic, who up until a year ago we didn't know anything about.
Yeah, I think Fran has been a revelation this camp. He's come in early as one of the early ones that came in, which was great. So we had a great time to work with him in Jebel Ali in Dubai. It was a bit quiet at start, but I have to say, hats off for him. He has been absolutely brilliant throughout the camp, the training sessions, how quickly he's picked up the different tactical aspects of the game in his position, the way that he's played throughout the games, scored a goal. Absolutely phenomenal. But just to come back to the question, for me being in Europe, yes, in the start when we started, when we took over, it was great because I had no restrictions in terms of travelling. So I went a lot around Europe. I went obviously through Holland, where we had players, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Norway, you name it. Obviously England, Scotland, just to go and see the players, because I think it's important to have that personal contact, to have a chat with them. When they're playing, it's great. You share their experiences with them. If they're not playing, is there anything we can do to help? But coronavirus has really put a damper on it. We got massive lockdowns in England. We couldn't go anywhere. So you are restricted to basically, phone calls, Zoom calls, a lot of WhatsApp messages, but you stay in touch. That's the most important thing, that the players, that they know there is somebody around the corner, whatever medium you want to use, if they want to get in touch with me or anybody else.
Rene, we've obviously got the Jordan game to play, but after that's finished, does your focus and the other staff's focus turn towards the Olympics preparation?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things, again, when we started off, Arnie and I, we had a long conversation. I made it very, well, I felt very strongly about us taking the Olympics because I felt we needed to create depth in our squad, to see young players. Arnie obviously fully agreed, and that's why we embarked on that journey together. It was not like, okay, then you do the Olympics, and no, it was great to do that as a team. So they get the same messages. We get to see what young players are emerging. We can get the same messages across in training in terms of the tactical principles we want to play, from defence, transition and build up and attack. All that's gone well, so we had a lot of contact time. Unfortunately, the Socceroos camp now in Marbella coincided with our World Cup qualifiers, but obviously Trevor Morgan and Gary Van Egmond have done a fantastic job for us. It was more of another identification camp for the players in Europe to have a shot at it. So the time for us is now to really reflect on everything that we know, and then eventually, decide on a final squad.
Yeah, it's a massive few months ahead for the Socceroos and the Olyroos after such a long time without any football. Now, I touched on your experience, and for those who follow the game would know that you spent a long time at Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, and just linking it back to the A-League, I was talking to Steve Keane earlier this year, the Melbourne Victory assistant coach and now interim coach, who told me a story when he was at Blackburn. He came to Old Trafford and beat Sir Alex Ferguson's side. He had done some research about a bottle of wine he had to bring. I think he told me he spent about £6,000, but because Blackburn had beaten Manchester United that day, Sir Alex didn't open that bottle. He gave him a cheap bottle of wine. I'd imagine you would have a few stories like that to share with us.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's another bottle of wine story with Sam Allardyce, who did the same thing. He came with Blackburn and he brought what he thought a very expensive bottle of wine, and he gave it to Tony Coton, the goalkeeper coach, and he thought they're going to enjoy a really nice glass of wine, but Tony Coton poured the real wine in a carafe just to set and breathe, and filled his expensive bottle of wine up with Ribena, very cheap Ribena. So when the first glass was poured by Sir Alex, and really Sam Allardyce was bragging about it, where he bought it and what year it was and what taste it was, and the first sip that Sir Alex took was just, he took a sip and and spit it out, over Sam Allardyce's shoes, and he went, "Oh, what's this? What's this? This is the cheapest wine I've ever got." And obviously then he found out that Tony Coton put Ribena in it. That was one of the funniest stories. But another one that sprung to mind the other day was, I used to pick Sir Alex Ferguson up when we had to play away in London, and we always would take the train. And you could only take the train in three stations, really. It was Stockport, it was Wilmslow, where we live, which was easy. You could walk to that, or Macclesfield. And when it was Macclesfield, I would pick him up, and we would jump on the train together. It was obviously Virgin train. When they stopped, it was basically a 30-second window, and off it went. But on this day, he didn't ask me to pick him up, so I went by myself, and I got there on the station, and the players are getting there that go on, and I didn't see them. I didn't see the manager. I didn't know where he was, so I thought he must have probably jumped on in Stockport or Manchester, I don't know. But as soon as I got on the train, I asked the guy that was always with us, "Have you seen Sir Alex? Is the buzz on the train?" "No, I've not seen him." So obviously McPhelan and the kitman was on it, Albert, and I said, "Have you seen the manager?" He's not on. "No, I've not seen him. I thought he was with you." "No, I thought it was you." So obviously the whistle goes and the train goes. So where is he? And obviously, apparently, he sat in his car in the car park, listening to the horse races, and he completely forgot about the train. So he missed the train. So obviously, he had to take a train later. And obviously, at dinner, we met him, and he was obviously furious, and everybody got pelters, and you this and you that, and such and such. But we did a bit of research on the horses that were running that day, and one of the horses was called What a Nuisance. So he said, "Okay, you're late, but this and that, the other. But I'm sure you must have put all the money on What a Nuisance, didn't you?" And that blew him completely up. But obviously that was one of the stories I always remember, that everybody was, "Oh dear, what we got to get here?" But yeah, he was watching the horse races.
Some fantastic stories, and I know there are plenty more coming out of Socceroos camp. It's a great culture there. Graham Arnold speaks about the family. Has this period that you've spent with the team brought that family closer together, given everything you've had to contend with?
As happy as you know it, you've been part of this environment, and it was amazing to see, after such a long time, when all those players came back in, how quickly we clicked again. First of all, we came a bit earlier, like 3 or 4 days early with the staff. That was like seeing your family again. Within 3 or 4 days, you've got the same sense of humour, you've got the same conversations going. Like I said, you know how it goes up. So when the players come in, it's fantastic. It's a very family-orientated environment where there's a lot of time for space for the players. There's a lot of time of freedom. There's a lot of time for enjoyment. That is the biggest word, because when you enjoy yourselves, you can get the best out of players in training. All the trainings we do are very purposeful. It's not like we bring the players over and because of the conditions we take it easy. No, absolutely not. The players know when there's time to work, and they will work, and they work fantastically well. You see here behind me today, there's signing sessions with the shirts, which are for request for all good causes. they've been brilliant, and it's a great atmosphere that is the foundation, I think, of this fantastic run we're on at the moment, and the run we're going to be on beyond this.
Fantastic, Renee. Well done on your efforts over in Kuwait, and good luck for the remainder of the tournament, or the game against Jordan, of course, with the Olyroos as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Zappers.
We've got the brawler from Gawler and the Italian stallion fighting it out here. You're right. Do they have table tennis in Adelaide? Oh my God! That defense, phenomenal defense. Couple of late Hewitts here. That is brilliant table tennis.
2-1. Fun fact: Gawler is closer to Uluru than it is to Adelaide.
Of course not. Stop talking when I'm playing. I'll tell you what.
Little fun fact there for you.
The fish are biting today. The fish are biting today.
He doesn't like that one.
All right, stay in the game. You guys mind your own business. Tell you what, Riley, if you keep this up, this is the last invitation, you'll get to the Q8 Invitational, mate. I feel like he's concentrating a little too much on the commentator. Not enough on the table. There he is. There he is.
That lion on his calf's getting angry.
He's got that lion energy. Ooh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. You go get those balls, buddy.
Think about how you're playing while you're down there.
Take your time.
Okay, work for yourself.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Gawler watching this.
He's not doing Gawler proud, put it that way. I'll tell you what, you just completely rattle him. I don't know if it's your presence.
Great.
Brandon Brillo with a fantastic performance. Riley,
be proud of yourselves, both of you.
Fantastic to see the boys are having lots of fun at the table tennis table. A bit hard to occupy time, especially when you can't go out under this COVID restriction. You had the same issue last year in the A-League Hub.
Certainly have. It definitely does test your patience. A lot of Netflix, PlayStation, cards is also a big hit within squads, but a few handy table tennis players, that's for sure.
All right, before we let you go, your prediction for the big game tomorrow?
Yeah, look, Zappers, I'm going to divide opinions here. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think our boys will put in a fair effort. I just think the time now, it's been away, the fourth game, but also Jordan, they have a big game to play for, a lot on the line, so I definitely think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
He was good last time, Scott Jamieson, with his prediction, so we'll hold you to that one. Good luck with the finals as well.
Much appreciated, thank you.
Yeah, Melbourne City in action in the A-League finals. Well, everyone in Melbourne is going for Melbourne City to hope they can host their grand final. Well deserved if they do. Don't forget the Socceroos in action in September again after this game against Jordan, and we look forward to seeing them back in action, hopefully on home soil as well. You can catch the Jordan game on Fox Sports, ABC TV and the My Football app. Thanks for tuning in to Socceroos Insider. We hope we can do it all again soon. From me, Michael Zappone, Scott Jamieson and all the team, thanks for tuning in.